Is that it? At least make it a challenge. I don't remember that's exactly what he said.
That was about it.
There was something along the lines
I
of
thought
like,
it was-
yeah.
I thought it was pretty poignant for Wrecker's dialogue.
Yeah,
That was pretty good.
That's. I like that even within a very serious, like, we need to go break a bad, one of the most evil villains that we've seen in this show out because our child
It's been stolen.
friend has been stolen and
Right.
is possibly being cloned right now, or is that all you got? Like, it was a little return to early Bad Batch episodes where they're just like, he literally just like, oh, just ram my head through it, bro.
It's like, I'm gonna wreck it. I'm gonna wreck it. Hey guys, welcome to the Star Wars Guys podcast. We are off the rails
Yes.
already. We're glad to have you with us. We are your hosts, Mike.
Hello there.
You know him well, Nate. Wait a minute.
Oh,
No. What happened?
Wow.
Nate's under the weather, not feeling well.
He's in the underworld.
He's in the
criminal
underworld.
underworld of
He
having a
couldn't-
cough.
He couldn't take it. He's been captured by the Empire.
He's got whatever Grievous has.
Yeah.
Oh, which we'll get to a little Grievous.
That's what he
here
said.
in
We
a
will.
little
We
bit.
will. We will.
Yes. Yeah.
And Uncle. So we're really glad you're here. We're gonna do our best to hold down the fort while Nate is recuperating. He's gonna be texting in. I expect a comment now.
You guys are
Any minute?
doing great. Wow, best episode ever from Nate.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I
Of
might
course.
just make up. I might just make up comments.
Wait, we got a
from Nate
chat
throughout.
coming in. What is this? Oh, you guys are the best podcast in the history of
Ever.
podcasts. Whoa.
Written by Steven Spielberg. Why are you writing? Oh, it was Nate. He's always signs off as Steven
course it
Spielberg to
is.
really inflate our ego.
Why not?
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a fun one. We've got some stuff to talk about. We've got Bad Batch.
Bad Batch.
We've got, because some time has passed since our last podcast.
We missed it's a technical
We had some tech issues. Oh, tech.
tech.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we,
any friend of Brown Eyes is a friend of mine.
I also like that in the previous episode, I think it was in the previous episode, we didn't get to talk about it, but one little thing before we really dive into our whole podcast. But there was a comment about, I dealt with the Trandoshan to get the.
Yeah.
I'm like, did they just like kill Sid? Or like, Sid is just strung up somewhere, going like,
Heads on a
I'll
pike.
never talk. You're gonna have.
I got a job for
I got a job for you. They're like, we don't need a job. We need information from you. I got a job.
Who would have thought Fee
Fee
was the good guy all the time?
Exactly.
Who would have thought it?
That was funny. But yeah, so we got our Bad Batch review. We've got a new trailer, two new trailers to discuss.
Yeah.
We got a little Tales of the Empire.
The Empire.
And
Our idea. Thank you. You're welcome, Kathy.
And then we've got our Outlaws
Outlaws video
It's
game.
gonna be pretty cool. I like it.
I can't wait.
So a lot to get to, but first, but wait, there's more.
Yes.
But first, a little word from our sponsor. So we are, we're happy to have some sponsors for this podcast.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you see some of the items lying about in the podcast studio. And this podcast episode is sponsored by LegionSabers.com. Is your lightsaber a fragile toy? LegionSabers.com sells battle-ready NeoPixel sabers that can take a beating in style, with features like Flash on Clash, smooth swing, and gesture control. Upgrade your saber today and experience the lightsaber battles your inner child has always dreamt of. I love lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
There's more. They used my own thing.
There,
Oh, wait, there's more.
There's more.
This month only, buy any saber, get a free mystery baselit absolutely free with the code Star Wars Guys.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's us.
Nice.
Visit LegionSabers.com today. Again, use the code Star Wars Guys at LegionSabers.com for battle-ready NeoPixel sabers.
Yep.
That's
awesome.
I just want to break into.
Well, Legion sabers. A lot of the sabers that you get, you want to go out and because I did that.
Yeah.
We got one and we wanted to go out and fight, and then it very carefully says these are not made for.
Yes.
Right. So that's
So
good.
the
So
battle
take
race
my
stuff
kid
is-
outside and we start swinging, and then that's it for the saber.
That's it.
But
And that's it for your
those-
kid.
That's it for the kid.
Because you don't take it easy.
If I do it right. So that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So thanks again to Legion
Awesome.
Sabers, and always love having them as a sponsor of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Bad Batch.
Man.
Boy, we're coming down the pike. Coming
Four
down
left,
the,
right?
Yeah, we
Four
are.
left.
Gosh. There's a lot to get to because thinking about a couple of things from last episode we can touch from the previous episodes we can touch on because it ties into this episode. But obviously, in the previous 2 episodes, to sum it up, we obviously lose Omega. She was not deceased, but taken.
Right.
She was taken back to Tantus, and I loved how this episode it picks up from the opening shot to the opening after the intro, it goes to this very ominous music immediately, and it cuts to Tantus again. And I'm like, anytime we get to Tantus, that's like my ears perk up. I lean forward because I'm always just not just hungry for more of the
because you can't hear a word that Hemlock says.
What's he saying? What's with that hand?
Wait, where's the subtitles? What?
Exactly.
No,
Speak up, softy.
Everything's just Sid just
why are you whispering?
just getting.
No, he's such a great villain.
Yeah, he's so good, and I love the quiet villain.
It's
makes
the
you
best.
lean in because then you're waiting for just at some moment at the end of the show he might just erupt or he might just lose it, and
for
it's
sure.
just, it really draws even for this episode. Very clearly, he's been hunting down Omega to get her back. Omega knows this, and for a while, it was almost like he's escorting her around almost like he's giving her a tour of the facility.
Yeah.
Until he gets into the vault and then he shuts the doors.
Welcome home.
Welcome to your new home,
Sweetheart.
You're like, oh gosh. It's and then every time you see the children in the vault, it's just so sad. And hearing
Awful.
Omega, or hearing him say, "Welcome, like this is your new home." Like, oh man, there's a lot to get to. But overall thoughts on the episode, overall feelings, like it, love it, want some more of it.
Yeah. For those of you who've been watching, we missed last week because of technical problems. And that was a double.
Yeah, that
And
was a double.
I missed the week before.
Yep.
So 4 episodes to we've
we've
had a lot to catch up on.
You're still on. In your mind, Tech is fine.
Tech's
He's still alive. You haven't seen
he's
anything
fine.
that's happened since
We don't know.
the end of last season. No.
Hemlock, who is Hemlock again?
Hemlock's, yeah.
No, so a lot has happened.
Yes.
This episode was, I think, fantastic. It's almost like these kinds of things. This is what the Batch was created for.
Yeah.
The infiltrate the prison base.
Totally.
It's a classic.
This is the A-Team.
Oh, it's
this
great.
Is that.
It's
This
what
is-
they
yeah.
do. Infiltrate the base, and they make quick work of it.
Mm-hmm.
So great. And then to bring back Rampart again.
I love Rampart with a beard.
Oh my goodness!
Bearded
I saw him, I was like,
Rampart.
"What is going on?" It's great.
Yeah.
Arguing, of course, with an Ugnaught who
Yes.
he has complete control of everybody, and now he can't even. He can't
I love
even.
it. This is how far he's
He
fallen.
can't control an Ugnaught who
This
is.
doesn't even know what
he's-
an Ugnaught speaks. He's
No.
like, no, whatever you speak. He doesn't even take the time to learn anything about them.
he was involved in destroying the base on Camino,
Yeah.
and now he's fighting with an Ugnaught over
Like,
some.
in prison. Yeah. It's great. I loved because I always thought Rampart was a great villain.
Yeah,
Because
it
he
was
was
awesome.
like he was a typical
Quintessential, perfect.
He was the Star Wars. There's a little bit of Krennic in him
Yeah.
of the over ambitious
Mhm.
officer who then also will lose everything because Tarkin will go, "What was your plan? I think I should tell Lord Vader that I did that."
I will take
Yeah,
control.
it's immediately like
right.
Tarkin, don't get your hands dirty, don't do the groundwork,
Mhm.
and then something rises up and go, "Yes, I shall
I
tell
like
the Emperor
that.
about that immediately.
I
I'm
like
sure he'll
that.
be very pleased with
Yeah.
me. Also, get out of here." So I love seeing that he's I loved seeing that he was alive.
Yeah.
Because even though I don't root for him as a character, I think he's a great character.
Yeah, it's fun.
He's a great bad guy, and I loved seeing he's still. The Emperor didn't just take him away and just execute him. They sent him to it's for some reason it's even more degrading
Oh, it's
for
worse.
him.
It's way worse.
It's one thing to be like a military guy and you die in the heat of battle or
Right.
your plan is foiled and it all goes awry and you're like, well, I tried, I died.
Yeah, no,
But then do no,
you're
no.
the labor camp.
No, you go to labor camp with the Ugnaughts, you'll
Mhm.
know nothing of what they're saying and they'll treat you like garbage. I also love that when we see him and throughout the course of the episode, we learn that he has not changed at all, which I love. Like, he is a weasel
It's not humbled a
scumbag.
bit. Not humbled at all. It's like
no, He
This
is
is so
not.
beneath
It's
me.
not like I've seen the error of my ways.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a maybe this time. Like even the way he says like the episode's ending, he's like because after all, we're in this together. You're like, don't you just want to punch him in the face? Like Wrecker once like I'd punch him, but my hand would go right through his mushy skull. Like it just. It's great, but so
together.
I always love these. This felt reminiscent to some other, TV shows, whether it's like a 24 or like an old show of one of these shows of okay, the moral ambiguity of we have to break out the villain or one villain to stop the bigger thing
right.
at play,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not going to forgive them. Like they're not like, all right, you're fine.
No.
We'll get out of here. It's like, okay, we need information. You've got information. Okay, we'll take off the cuffs, like that type of a thing. And then now it's always how long until he betrays them?
Yep.
How long? He's a weasel.
They're
Is he
both,
going to get to Tantus?
they're both
and
using
then
the other. Who's
slip
gonna?
out?
Yeah.
So I love the premise of the episode and then actually doing it. There's some funny. I think my favorite part of the episode is when Wrecker throws him like a sack of potatoes. Like
his limp.
they're like jump and he goes
Stern
oh,
body.
and just throws him and he just plops down. I thought that was so. funny.
It scared me at the end because once we saw Tech die. Now and it is the last season.
Yeah,
we realize that they are the Expendables.
They are.
That's what they are.
They are.
So
we haven't seen them in future Star Wars storytelling.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I thought this was how Wrecker goes out. It didn't seem as noble. I mean, Tech sacrificed himself to save everyone.
Yeah.
And Wrecker was just too slow.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a good way to go out.
Like he should have just jumped 2 seconds earlier.
Yeah, or thrown the limp body and jumped. I mean, I get it. Yeah. No, but anyway, so I was nervous for just a second.
I was too. I like the fact that it's whenever a show I think is unafraid to this goes to bigger shows just at large, but whenever you feel like your main cast is just invincible and no one ever in a show where it depends what the show is. I don't need my main cast of Seinfeld to feel like they're gonna die.
Right.
But in a show where they're constantly in danger and people are perishing around them, it's always feels a little too make believe if none of the people you care about are ever in serious danger.
Yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, when Tech, when Tech has his end and falls, and it's an emotional beat, not just for the audience, but obviously for it sends shockwaves throughout our Bad Batch. It changes everything as far as it changes things for the batch itself, but changes stuff as a viewer of like, oh, I didn't know that was possible.
That's right.
Or I didn't know they'd go there.
Changes everything.
It's like we've talked about before with Mando.
Yeah.
And if like when they pulled the Luke Skywalker moment, we're like, oh, I've been underselling. I didn't know we could do that.
That's right.
Where sometimes in an animated show you wonder, will they do that? Well, Clone Wars has gone way darker, has gone dark before. This show is going dark this season. And so you don't know who's going to make it at the end of this, but I liked seeing an action. Also, the action itself, the two the tanks shooting missiles at each other on the bridge, cool. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
So it was very much Expendables, A-Team. Okay, we've got a mission. We've got to go break this person out of jail to go get the info that we need while tracking, because this goes back to our last episode. Did you expect them to fail at the end of the last episode? There's something about when Crosshair shoots the thing to try to, and it just drops in the water. That you're like,
what?
Oh man,
is that
now what? And I like that. It has a little bit of the Last Jedi feeling at the end of we're like our plan or Empire. Like our plans. This movie was about them failing.
Yeah.
And how they respond to that.
Right.
How do we go get Han back? How do we go get Omega back? And so I just love so much of what they're doing. I also love, over the last 2 episodes, we've started to really get some definitive, this one felt like some definitive answers as far as why they want Omega. We've speculated before.
Right.
This one was Hemlock pulling down the whiteboard and saying, okay, let me spell it out for you.
Very clear
Here's
exposition.
exactly what we're trying to do. I do think the only missing piece or one of the missing pieces, or I'm still interested to see where the Palpatine because you've got the children who have the Force,
Yep.
midichlorians.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Omega, who is the binder, whose blood is the only one who can take the transfusion and have the M count not drop, not diminish.
Yep.
Because you can't do a direct just cloning because the M count is, diminishes, it says. So interesting to see, like, is there some Force cocktail that they're working on where, like, Palpatine, because I'm wondering, like, what the children of the Force are for, other than maybe that's more towards, like, the Snoke side of things. Because I'm thinking, like, if you needed Palpatine, if we're doing if Project Necromancer is just this specific cloning of Palpatine, you would think you need Palpatine's blood, and you need, obviously, you need Palpatine's blood, and we need something to bind it to, a clone to bind it to, and that seems like Palpatine plus Omega equals clone Palpatine.
Yeah, it's Pop Omega.
Yeah, exactly.
Omega Team.
Exactly.
Try our new drink, Omega Team.
Omega Team.
Guaranteed to keep your N count where it should be.
Are your M counts lower?
Are you feeling run down? Force not working right for you?
Especially
try
later
Omega
in the day.
Team.
Yeah. So I'm wondering kind of where the children with the Force, how that plays into the Palpatine of it all.
Yeah.
Or if it's just like Project Necromancer we're doing a lot of dark cloning stuff.
Yep.
And some of that is Palpatine's blood mixed with Omega. Force, like, I think that I really think they're treating these children as they treat Grogu later.
That's right. Exactly, I think.
Which is interesting because I felt a little more maybe Moff Gideon doing his own thing, but maybe there's a little bit more kind of that was at play before then. But I don't know. What's your take on any of that?
Yep, I think the kids are expendable so that they can bring them in, they can test them, they can keep them as prisoners, they can test some more, And once they found that connection with Omega now, they didn't know it was her. But now they can begin to work with Palpatine's
with his blood
to create. Well, and we know from Rey is the granddaughter, but the son was a clone.
Yeah.
So somewhere in there they've been doing this to test.
Yeah.
And probably it was just a clone that he chose to keep.
You say what's interesting about that
as a child, kind of like Boba,
is that I love that we know that at some point we know that Palpatine's plans do not go in this era according to plan.
No.
One of the reasons also being that his son is not Force user.
That's right.
And so it's not like he has it figured out. And then there's some big, obviously, Return of the Jedi is a big stumble for him.
Yeah.
Spoiler, Palpatine, if you're listening to the podcast, but it does not go well for you, Return of the Jedi. Stay clear of Luke Skywalker.
I just thought of one of the episodes for Tales of the Empire. There's got to be Palpatine throwing football with his non-Force sensitive son.
And like catch it, and then he does catch it, and then you have like an old timey like Wonder Years montage of him like picking him up and like spinning him around, and like like this, like the little Super 8 camera, like there's something that's just woo. That's it's just a good old
throwing
the pigskin around,
just dusting the pigskin.
I love it. But no, so I'm loving that we're getting these answers as far as does it mean for a fact that Omega's not Force sensitive? I think no, because they've hinted at that with the Ventress stuff, that they've kind of like played with our minds a little bit of like maybe it's because she's Force sensitive. Oh, we'll find out. Or now they've said, okay, she might be Force sensitive, but the reason we want her is because of what her blood can accept.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've also Filoni's also been messing with the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
With Ahsoka.
Going back to Ahsoka and
Sabine talking about what exactly a Jedi is. Is it only M count? Is it
a lot more of the training aspect of it?
And we kind of have it set that Omega could be a Jedi if she chooses that path somehow, or ended up that way. Not that I think she will, but possibly Force sensitive.
There's a lot here. I love that. It's with a handful of episodes left.
Remember when we opened when they showed us inside there, and we thought, I just imagined that there was like 50 jars with Palpatine.
Totally.
Different Palpatines.
It was kids coloring, and I was like, whoa, that was not at all
building
what I
Legos.
expected.
Huh.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. scarier in a way.
Like, hello, this is Jax. Jack's like, hello. I was like, that was not at all what I was expecting.
And could they make them any sweeter?
I know. They're just this.
There's not
at
one of
least-
them going, shut up, you.
At
Let
lea-
me out. I want to go
No.
play.
I told my mom to shut up right before I came here. Like, at least
That's how I
get us-
talk now, doesn't it?
at least
Not taking my blood.
Palpatine, at least for our sake, kidnapped like Sid from Toy Story, so I don't feel quite as bad about it.
He's in there.
I get
He's
some
in there
real
burning.
just rotten kid. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's
Take his blood again.
he's ripping the head off of his doll. What, you want it too? Oh,
It's like, why is it always my turn? Shut up and get your blood out.
that would be great. That would be a fun little
But they're
a
all
fun little
so-
cutscene is that they've kidnapped one just rotten egg. Like who's just like, go home, get out of here. If you promise to never tell anyone about Tantus, we promise we'll never come looking for you ever again.
Just open the
leave.
door.
Just go. Get out of here.
Hello, Dad. Go take my blood, are you? And
This snot-nosed little punk. Just get out of here, please. Never come back.
from Essex?
There's something about the attitude that we just not.
so funny.
I love it.
Not a Jedi, am I?
Oh,
Oh, it's so funny.
ruin your life. I'm count, didn't it? It's just like-
Didn't it?
oh man,
Oh,
I love it. Well, there's.
I can't believe you only have 4 left, though.
I know it's. Well, that can segue into what we have to talk about here, which is I'm worried. I always internally, whenever we're getting near the end of the show, I get this. It's funny because I didn't have it growing up because we'd spend years between the next Star Wars project.
Right.
But now we've been just so accustomed to like
Those-
knowing what's around the
Yeah.
corner, knowing what's around the corner to any time over the last year when a show ends, I then do this mental math of like, or when it's coming near an end, like, okay, what have they already announced? What's coming next? When's, oh no, how long do I have to wait? Oh no, do we only have one other thing that they've announced or two other
Right.
things? So over the last handful of weeks when we've been like getting closer to the end of Bad Batch, I've been thinking, are they going to announce another animated show sometime soon? Because
Yeah.
I'm just kind of a little worried. And boy, out of nowhere,
Yeah.
did they ever?
Did they
So
ever?
that leads us obviously into our Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Tales of the Jedi,
the
which
Em-
we did know that they
Of the Empire.
they had announced Tales of the
Tales
Jedi
of the
season
Jedi.
2 initially.
Yep.
And so I had kind of been like, okay, we're going to get some news around May 4th because that's when they had done it before
Mhm.
for Tales of the Jedi season 2. That I thought, oh, we're going to get some Tales of the Jedi season 2 info coming soon, perhaps. Instead, out of nowhere, they just go, nope, here's a trailer. Because I thought like we might even just get like a sneak peek or some posters, maybe an announcement about who are the 2 Jedi they're going to focus on this time. And
Yeah.
then they go, nope, out of nowhere, I'm sitting there, I get a notification or I see just kind of something on my social media of like, what is this? I
What?
think I saw
Tales of
someone
the-
like screenshot a picture of Morgan Elsbeth. And I was like, what is this? And did someone do some of their own animation
Yeah.
to make it? And then all of a sudden I click on
no.
the trailer and Tales of the Empire. So there's a lot to get into here. We'll try to go through as quick as possible. But overall thoughts on Tales of the Empire trailer when you watched it?
It was jam-packed.
Jam-packed.
like-
a lot there.
Whoa. And initially, we had this idea, Tales of the Sith.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Tales of the Empire is maybe better. I don't know.
It's like there's maybe a little more leeway.
You can do a lot more stuff.
It's
Because they can be in there. They don't have to be Sith. They can be.
true.
But I was so
Yeah.
excited.
Mhm.
Because I've always leaned toward the dark side.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
yeah.
Han
In
Solo
between,
was.
what they don't know is right before we started recording this.
Yeah.
You were just force lightning me like crazy,
Exactly,
and, and then
exactly.
you'd always explain it right off and go, "Sorry about that. I just kind of always lean to the dark side."
Yeah.
And I was sitting there roasting like a hot dog. Going, no, don't sweat it. No, I get it. It's
I've
just your
dabbled in
natural-
cloning. I'll
it's your
admit it.
natural tendency.
I've tested M counts. I do sometimes.
And wigs.
And wigs. No, but I thought Han Solo was always my favorite because he had that. He leaned toward the villain a
Yeah.
little bit. Darth Vader was my favorite
Mhm.
villain and
Of course.
character. Anyway, so when they announced Tales of the Empire, I was like, oh my goodness, because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah.
There
there's
is
a lot.
tons. all of these characters that and we've talked about this idea of a show. I thought it was called. I came up with the idea of connections. This telling us stories of things that happened when we weren't.
Which you came up with this like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and then Dave Filoni said,
"Let's do that for the
that
Jedi."
podcast." He said, "Hold the fort."
Wait
this podcast. He adjusted his cowboy hat and said, "This uncle guy's onto
like
something."
that idea.
He really is, though. They're doing exactly what we were hoping they would do. Which is
it's great.
Taking some things that we want, some answers, some
tell us a
some
little bit more
moments,
about
some
that.
context, give us some filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
Some time jumps along
How did
the
Morgan
way.
Elsbeth become that?
Exactly.
What's her past like?
So
yeah, I can't wait.
excited.
I think it's
Yeah.
going to be awesome. And because it's Tales of the Empire, we can go to any time.
that's the
So we
thing.
pull in
Is it's so fun they
Vader,
can
we
time
pull
jump.
in
Yeah.
Grievous, anybody. We can. It's going to be.
I think that's
Gonna
one
be
of my
great.
favorite parts of Tales of the Jedi season 1 was obviously Dooku, Ahsoka, 2 characters that we've seen actually a decent amount of in the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
But the Clone Wars is very much a time period, and then they put us in that time period, and then obviously time passes, but there weren't big time jumps throughout the Clone
Right.
Wars. It was like you were telling it
following
to
them. Mhm.
Order 66. That's kind of the end of that story for
Yeah.
then. What I loved about Tales of the Jedi is we can go with this character to baby Ahsoka.
Baby Ahsoka. Mm-hmm.
Learn about her upbringing, her village, like the culture. Then we can jump. We can go to these important moments. Dooku, we get young, Padawan, apprentice, Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, yeah.
We get Dooku pre-fall, but when he has his reservations about the Jedi and is onto some things that are actually legitimate,
Yep.
and then we see him then justify terrible decisions based on that. Like he'll say, "Oh, well, because of that, then I'll do this," and then he becomes obviously just overrun by greed, and he goes down the Stark path. But then, what I love about it is that we have the surrounding characters I never expected we would get answers on, like Yaddle.
Yeah.
We get a definitive what happens to Yaddle, where's Yaddle. We get that in the show.
Yep.
And what makes me most excited maybe about Tales of the Empire is that we can do those time jumps. We can instead of picking a show and saying, okay, we need to just do this period, and then you're kind of locked in there. It's okay. Let's not spend as long. We don't need 6 seasons of a show to give us some answers. We can do, boom, 3 episodes on this character, 3 episodes on this character, different moments in their life. And the surrounding characters are exciting. Even in this trailer, we see Thrawn in what I think maybe is the coolest looking version of Thrawn we've seen yet, which is we've seen Rebels Thrawn, which Rebels has a specific animation style that's intentionally not supposed to always be the most realistic or the most the lightsabers are like toothpicks. Like they do, it's supposed to be this exaggerated artistic kind of version of it. Where Clone Wars, especially as Clone Wars has progressed and Bad Batch has progressed,
and all this,
it looks like I'm looking at pictures of, I mean, like Morgan Elsbeth looks like Morgan Elsbeth.
The ship, the space scenes look like Episode 1.
Yes,
I mean
they really look incredible.
Yeah,
and so seeing the surrounding characters, I think Grievous has maybe never looked cooler. Like the way that just the way Grievous looked, animation style looks awesome. And so I'm excited to see if these are the characters they've shown us in the trailer already. What's not shown there yet?
Right.
What is going to, what story?
What are the surprises?
Yeah. Maybe there's, I mean, it might be a big jump because I don't think that maybe they had much of a connection pre the Ahsoka show, but maybe there's some sort of, Balin tied in a little bit to, again, I'm not sure if they really knew each other much before Morgan Elsbeth and Balin are working together. It kind of feels more like the connection is definitely towards Thrawn, and they're going to break out Morgan Elsbeth and Ahsoka. I don't know.
Well, we
that
could get
connection
some
for
of
them,
his
but
path,
get some of his path, and
That'd be awesome.
get some definitely some Night Sister stuff in here.
Yeah.
Some big time Night Sister stuff. And then Barriss Offee. Barriss is a Clone Wars watcher. Barriss was someone that I thought we kind of would never see any more of.
Yep.
She's frames Ahsoka for this bombing, and is another one of these characters similar to a Dooku type character who has some legitimate concerns and legitimate gripes with the Jedi Order, and is like, I don't know if I agree with where it's headed. and then takes over the top extreme measures to prove her point.
Yeah.
And because of that becomes villainous and goes down this dark path where I like that both these characters are in classic Filoni. In classic Filoni storytelling, these are both tied to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Everything is always tied to Ahsoka with Filoni, and I mean that in a good way because he loves Ahsoka.
Has anybody brought up the Ahsoka-verse yet? Is that a thing?
There's
the Ahsoka-verse.
The Ahsoka-verse. You got Barriss Offee, who framed Ahsoka
and moving there.
was kind of the mirror of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Of like, she was older, kind of. She wasn't as young, but she was a Jedi who was who had some gripes, and Ahsoka decides to walk away, and Barriss decides to blow people up.
Yeah.
And
go deep.
And so I love that we find out that not only is she alive, but looks like she's heading towards
full on
being an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
And that final shot in the trailer of them I love the way it's shot, it's so cinematic, but of the 4 Inquisitors kneeling, but like the timing of it for some reason seems so cool, of not like, oh, in unison we kneel, like you just start dropping.
Yeah.
And you see each of them, boom, boom. Like you see the Inquisitor from who faced Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi, season 1.
Yep.
You see Marek
Merrick
from Ahsoka. So we'll get some backstory as to maybe before Morgan Elsbeth Knight's sistery magic maybe keeps him alive longer than
what is that? Yeah.
What actually happens there?
Mm-hmm.
Is it fourth sister? Is the other sister who is actually the one of the Inquisitors from Kenobi is in this. She's the one who walks into Barriss and is talking to her throughout this. And we get the Grand Inquisitor.
Grand Inquisitor.
So there's just so much.
With a longer head.
With a longer head. That head
they
looks
fixed that.
Perfect.
So wait a second. You mean he can't be played by a human? Okay.
Wait a second. Okay. So I'm so excited. I'm excited about it, and
it's gonna be awesome.
It caught me off guard because I was thinking of Tales of the Jedi season 2, and I was also thinking Tales of the Sith.
Yep.
And Tales of the Empire is a cool way that you can, because
you can do both.
If you
do all of it,
I could see Filoni also maybe getting into the, maybe not wanting to be definitive with terms like Sith, because I do think that sometimes people mistake, like even fandom, of like someone who's was a Jedi doesn't mean they are a Sith.
That's
a
right.
Sith is a very specific
adventurous
rule of 2. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so
not
maybe
tell that
like,
story.
Well, if I go Tales of the Sith, we have a couple of main characters I can get to, but then we get into the gray area of like, well,
like a Balin.
Is Ben Solo a Sith? Because we know that Snoke had multiple apprentices.
That's right.
About that. So he's not really a Sith. It's something different.
Yeah.
And then maybe we're pigeonholing ourselves there versus Tales of the Empire, and then maybe that can lead to Tales of Rebellion, Tales of the Bounty Hunters, Tales of I thought you would like this. Someone posted this online. Yeah. And like for fun made up a bunch of artwork. And it was Tales of the, and it was like 50 different like 50 different tales.
We're going to choose to take that in love. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. Let me see. It was,
Nate,
it really was.
Nate, pull that up on our, oh, darn it. Nate's not here. Zero technical. We're lucky we got the buttons working. I think we got the buttons working. Oh, people are commenting. Look at that.
Hey, there
we
you
should
go.
probably have somebody pay attention to that. I'm so sorry. I can't see it from here.
Neither of us have our computer.
And what's
today.
weird is I probably couldn't see it from here because I'm in that middle area where the contacts go, but they don't go here. If you can,
that's true. I can pull that up. I will definitely pull that up.
Hey Nate, would you comment on the chat while you're
Nate over there respond to people? Yeah. Here's the real quick. Here's the and then I will pull up. Here's what somebody.
Oh my goodness!
Somebody did this, and you look at the different, and it's fun because obviously some of them are like really good ideas, like, oh, that would be really cool.
Tales of the Hidden Path.
And then some of them go
Tales of the Droids.
Some of them go completely off the rails on purpose. Tales of the Gungans.
Tales of the Younglings.
There's some good stuff.
Ooh, Tales of the World Between Worlds. Tales. This would be a snooze fest. Tales of the Banking Clan.
Tales of the Techno Union.
Tales of the Night Owls. Tales of the Gungans.
Yeah.
Tales of the Holidays?
This is just. I saw someone someone screenshot that one and said, "What an absolute moneymaker that would be."
Tales of the Techno Union.
The Techno Union Clan.
So
So yeah, so obviously that was kind of tongue in cheek, as a joke, but
Tales of the Millennium Falcon.
it does make me think of if Tales of the Jedi is not necessarily the series, but Tales of is now their series, where could they go? I mean, obviously, when I think of Tales of the Jedi, another season of Tales of the Jedi, the main thing I really would have wanted to see, and obviously it doesn't look like we're gonna get it right away, would have been one of the main things I would have loved to see is a Luke and Ben Solo. Like getting actual, like, even in just animation form, an actual view of what that training looked like. Give me some storytelling of the two of them, of kind of, younger Jedi Master Luke still, training Ben Solo, and maybe some interactions with Han and Leia during that time of the struggles of, okay, I'll train him, this type of, just even before Snoke gets in his ear, and starts, starts, obviously, influencing to the dark side. Just even what that initial thing looked like would be really interesting. I think in that you could also have pre Ben Solo, some Luke Skywalker in his prime adventure, going on finding some sort of
with Leia.
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
I think that there's some training with Leia.
Yeah, that'd be
that
cool.
would be one I would love to see. And then obviously, just whenever we talk Tales of the Sith, some younger Palpatine, some younger Palpatine Plagueis stuff.
That would be
that
great.
Would break the internet. I think that would just be
killer.
Disney Plus would crash because
you know what exciting. These really are. This really is, and I think he might do this. I think Filoni would hold my calls. And he goes into the office, and he has a cabinet, and he opens the door, and it's just a diorama set up of different times in Star Wars. And he pulls the Star Wars characters out, and it's like, oh, pew, 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 pew. And he's just pretending like we used to do when we were kids, and that becomes a show. Like, what if, let's tell the story of, and he's just basically in his little sandbox. But then he produces them for us to watch.
Yeah. No, I
think that's what he's doing.
What Filoni, it's so funny because I think so many people, even like I try not to ever get into the headspace of like, this is what they should do. Filoni's sitting there with 5,000 possibilities of what the next thing will be.
Yeah.
And whenever they choose, Filoni has, again, I think Filoni, for the most part, especially kind of in this kind of era of his storytelling, and now I think it's going to change some as he's now been kind of promoted to this bigger umbrella job. But I think initially he's kind of always, for now, gravitated towards, and understandably so, the things that have connected that he's been really interested in, that he's also kind of set up the foundation for. So while the Luke Ben stuff I think is fascinating, and I think is probably even fascinating for a guy like Filoni. I'm not saying he would never do it. It also makes sense that, like, what works for his Ahsoka season 2? Give us some context to a little more about what Morgan Elsbeth was up to.
Yeah.
Give us, you spent 7 seasons telling stories about the Clone Wars and Ahsoka and Barriss Offee. Conclude the Barriss Offee story.
Right.
So I think that it makes sense why some people as audience might be, and I was, when I pulled up the trailer, I was like, whoa, my first initial reaction was awesome. I can't believe we're getting this. Then my mind went to, these are 2 characters I wouldn't have selected. And not in a negative way. It's just, if I had, thinking Tales of the Jedi Season 2 / Tales of the Empire, Tales of Sith, I didn't first think Morgan Elsbeth and Barriss Offee. But Dave knows how to take some of the more kind of obscure characters. Again, Morgan Elsbeth not as obscure because she was kind of front and center in a lot of the Ahsoka stuff. But Barriss Offee is someone that, if you haven't watched Star Wars within the last 10 years, you might not know who that is.
No, you wouldn't know.
Because that's something
if
that
you
you
haven't watched
have
any
to be a Clone
animated
Wars.
stuff.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know who that is. But he uses these to tie things together to not just give maybe a a physical and emotional canon send off to some of these characters, but also the stuff around them. He's always informing other things that are down the road. So I think when he's doing this stuff in Ahsoka,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got Merrick there, and everyone's like, "Oh, Merrick fizzled away." Man, he's thinking, "Yeah, I already have plans, so I'm gonna tell more Merrick." Like, he's got these things down the road.
Do you think that it's possible that Filoni sees the Skywalker saga as George's, and he sees Ahsoka as his?
I think it could be.
Not that he doesn't want to tell, but I feel like
it doesn't feel like that's
George's,
as much his thing. Yeah.
Filoni is the keeper of the canon now, but he's not gonna. I don't know that he wants to go in and start altering the Skywalker saga in any way. There are rules for Vader, there are Palpatine, but it feels like maybe he's leaning toward, and not that he doesn't like him, but his creation is the Ahsoka characters, and that
that's why he's dealt a lot in the Clone Wars era too.
Yeah.
A lot of the prequel era.
Plus, it's new. It's good to hear new stories.
For sure. I think that there's something to that, where I think that it'll be interesting. I definitely think from the interviews that they've given, Favreau and Filoni, some of their similarities, some of their their big differences. Favreau feels a little bit more like the kid in the sandbox who has played with his main action figures and is like, I've always come up with what comes next for them. Let me go do that.
Let me do it.
Where Filoni is this. He's been in the trenches
I made this
with
new
the
character.
I've put stuff in the universe, and now I kind of want to build to something new.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't think that means necessarily. I think there's positives to both of that, because I think that there is a big portion of the Star Wars fandom and audience that has been clamoring for, can we please move on past the Skywalkers? Can we do something?
Yeah.
And I do get that to some point, even though I'm someone who I will never complain about more Luke Skywalker storytelling or Darth Vader storytelling, and loved seeing our main heroes return in the sequel trilogy. I do get that there are people who are like, yeah, let's get off of Tatooine, or let's get away from this stuff as much and go to something completely new, where Filoni feels like he's maybe leaning a little bit towards that, like they're building towards the new, towards, okay, I've created new characters, and obviously he's very protective of Ahsoka, which was a new character that he created so many years ago with George overseeing, but that was his character. That was Filoni's character. And so I do think you're onto something there. I think that's why maybe I think some of the answers we'll get, and again, with Mandalorian, they haven't been afraid to go Luke Skywalker. They certainly have gone there. But a lot of it's kind of,
that's a Filoni like, hey, what if we bring in?
Yeah.
What if it ends up? Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's Luke Skywalker.
Or not Filoni. That's a
Favreau.
Favreau.
Yeah. And I think that feels like Favreau doing that and Filoni going, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. As long as
I'll allow it.
Yeah. As long as it serves the main characters over, like it serves, it's not just, this has not become the Luke Skywalker story.
Yeah.
This is, what does this Luke Skywalker moment mean for Grogu? What does that mean for Mando? What is that? And so we as fans get this great Luke Skywalker moment, but Luke Skywalker coming in and saving Grogu at the end of season 2 is not that we reveal and learn a ton about Luke Skywalker in that moment. We know who Luke Skywalker is. Right. We even know who he is at that time, even though we haven't seen it on screen.
Yeah.
It's just, here's a cool glimpse of getting to, you get some validation, and here's the character that Luke is at the time. That also makes perfect sense to save our actual main characters, and it's important for their growth moving forward. And so it's exciting to see where they're going to go with any future storytelling. Obviously, I'm super excited for Tales of the Empire, because I think there's a lot they can do there.
While we're talking about this, let me clarify something. Did I read right that we're starting with shorts?
Yeah, for
Tales of the Empire.
Yeah, I think it's similar. I think that's what they called it in season 1.
Okay.
Which was, these are, I want to say, like 11, 12-minute episodes on some of them, maybe 15, 17 minutes or the longer.
Yes.
But this is a limited. This is not, here's your brand new show that we're doing 10 episodes. This is like 12 to 20 minutes.
Yep.
I can't remember what the longest one of Tales of the Jedi was, but I don't think it's beyond 20 minutes. I think
I don't think so.
They're shorter.
Right. Just to clarify.
And they're definitely filling in the gaps a little bit.
But these I guarantee you, these are going to be the ones that land are the ones they'll lean into for future, I believe.
Yeah.
For future endeavors. If something lands, like, ooh, everybody loves it, it hits, I think they'll lean into that. Yeah. Probably. They're good. They're great stories, and they're going to tell us a lot, but I think they're also like, ooh, when they touch a hot button, they're going to, I would imagine.
And what I like about the tales, about the decision to do the shorts, is that you don't feel like, okay, we make an announcement of here's the next animated show, and you immediately get people that are just like, oh, I wish it was in a different time period. Like,
right.
Because the next season is completely different. The next season is different characters. Like, as soon as you say, okay, here is the next show, it's about, even for great live action shows. Okay, here's Andor. We've got Andor season 1. I loved Andor. Love it so much. There's probably a lot of people out there, or some people out there, who are like, cool, I want to move to a different time period.
Yeah.
And for the movies and for live action, there's just so much time that takes to, they're like, we're going to get to that. Eventually, we're getting to James Mangold's movie that's going to be coming, talking about the origins of the Jedi, the Dawn of the Jedi, all that stuff. But it takes so much time to do it.
Yeah.
Where Tales of the Jedi, they're able to go like in a year essentially. Cool. I have no doubt that if these are already ready for release May 4th, they're already working on whatever the next batch is, whether it's writing or animation style. Like, they're able to put out not more content like that we need. We don't need necessarily for animation, I think, especially. We don't need necessarily the next 7-season show. I think that people like dipping their toe into this and then dipping their toe into that, and then give us a Palpatine and you can go to these things without feeling like, cool, our next show is all just based on Palpatine and Plagueis, and it's going to be for 5 seasons. That's been incredible.
Yeah.
But also, if we want to get to some of our answers about where Luke and Ben are, what this looks like, this is the perfect way to do it, where give us a few, like, I didn't leave Tales of the Jedi Season 1 thinking, like, that was great, but I just wish there was so much more. Like, I would have loved more, but I felt like that felt perfect.
Yeah, it was great.
And so I'm excited for this because it's also something that if this isn't your favorite, something else is coming soon.
There's another one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm excited for it. Also, just the animation is it's insane where it's come.
Oh,
like,
my
as
goodness.
far as just how realistic everything looks is just so cool. Couple things here. So reading the chat. The couple of things that we had missed. Nate commented that we had went off the rails 2 seconds in.
2 seconds in.
2 seconds in.
Right. The OTR counter.
Yes, exactly.
2 seconds.
Off the rails is 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That's
that could be an offshoot to our cast.
Well, I like that.
It's Star Wars Guys OTR.
OTR.
All it is everything not about Star Wars.
Yeah. Exactly. It's
because
not LOTR, not Lord of the Rings. It's just off the rails.
We would come back to Star Wars, and that would be off the rails, because we always come back to Star Wars.
But somehow first we get in Nixon's and wigs.
Yeah, it would be
just something in there.
Earpieces and wigs.
All them hearing devices.
And Jedi.
Love it. Just a couple of comments. Anakin Skywalker said good morning. Could have been 20 minutes ago, because Anakin, I'm sorry, we didn't have this pulled up earlier.
He is now Anaheim.
Yeah.
He is no longer
Anaheim. It's great being back here in Star Wars. And also, with the animation stuff, now I get to go back and forth. You get young. You get some, obviously in the Clone Wars or the Attack of the Clones, you got
they're all in there.
It's all in there. It's all a mixture, because then you have the Matt Lantern. You have the Matt Lantern, Anakin. That's a little bit different than the I almost said Ewan McGregor Anakin.
Ewan McGregor Anakin. Hello there.
Hello, I'm Anakin.
I'm turned evil.
I'm turning evil, and I have a scar. It's funny.
Fun, isn't it?
The Punk Kid is our new favorite.
I'm a Jedi.
I'm a Jedi. I told my mom to shut up.
Saber.
Don't make me use it. It's just a tyrant little child. Get him out of here. I think my favorite idea
Take some blood from that kid.
My favorite idea is just a completely overwhelmed Hemlock going, please, just go. Take anything you want. Get out of here. Just don't. Promise. Never come back. Never come back. Just get out of here. Oh, he closed the doors. He's like, oh. And then Jax comes over and he goes, what was that about? And like all nice. He goes, oh, thank goodness. We can actually use you. You are just you're so sweet and innocent. I'm sorry. We will do
so thankful
terrible
I'll go back in your
tests.
cage.
Yeah, he's just a great bad guy. Should we move on to some Star Wars Outlaws real quick?
Oh, man.
This is something we'll maybe touch on, and then we'll have to really talk about it more with Nate, I think, next time he's here.
Yeah, Nate's going to be sad to miss that.
Because Nate's big into the game stuff as well. But just quick thoughts on it. I mean, again, I'm loving we're getting a game trailer, a new animation show trailer. We're getting Bad Batch. I got a little bit of some Star Wars news. I'll get to here in a second to wrap up.
They're getting a little flack on the pricing. I don't know if you're a big video game.
I'm not a huge video game guy, but I saw just some of the announcements.
You
of some
get
of the pricing
when these things come out, they do
stuff.
Yeah, they'll do season passes. They'll do the $150 package where you get a robe and you get a hat and you get or you get extra credits.
Or Hondo sits next to you and plays with you. That is a great idea.
I'm in the camp that I would just let me pay for the game.
Yeah, no, I get you. That's how I am too.
But there's always a tier in there where I'm like, that's me. Yeah. I don't care about the extra stuff. Some people love it.
Yeah.
But I am super pumped for this. But mainly because of the time frame has always been my favorite.
Yeah.
It's between Empire and Jedi, and
they even show Han.
Han is in
Carbonite
there.
And this
the full-on Jabba in the palace. Yeah. It's gonna be great. We got Pikes, we got Syndicate, it's like all in that.
Yeah, a little bit of
Bounty Hunter Outlaws thing.
Some stills of Akira during that time period, which totally makes sense. Which means there's some.
We talked about that. We may get
some Maul.
Spider Legs Maul back there somewhere.
Might get them. We definitely have all the time period allows. I mean, you go Cad Bane. You've got. Which obviously we didn't get to talk about. We had Cad Bane a couple episodes ago, and some. But yeah, Fennec. Like you've got a lot of people that could be around during that time. There's just so much there that I think they could use that have been established by some of the other things. It makes me also think of like their Outer Rim game.
Yeah.
Like where it's it's totally that vibe of like ships, the credit, the bounty, we need to swindle someone to get through this door. We got to run for our lives because now the Hutts are after us.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So it's in a way, I feel like we will get to play a Han Solo character without being Han Solo. It kind of feels like a female Han Solo character. Yeah. So there's the humor built in. There's the cockiness. I'm wanted. I'm gonna go. I'm just really looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be great. And I've always been partial to the blaster over the saber.
Yeah.
Whenever I play video games, like whenever I play Battlefront or any of these games where you can choose, I always choose the blaster.
Well, you're an original Han Solo guy.
I mean,
because something about the gunslinger.
Yeah, it's more uncivilized.
Swashbuckling,
so Obi-Wan calls it a civilized, right?
Yeah.
But when you play these games, basically when you have a saber, you're just slashing people.
Yeah, uncivilized as people are losing limbs.
The blaster feels way more civilized in the game because you
just take care of them.
You're just not hacking and slashing everybody. Right.
There's not a scream involved.
No, there's not.
Exactly. With the saber too, it takes precision, but I have to imagine that there are, even in Jedi, what they don't show you on screen is there's a lot of, I cut the wrong spot, I gotta put you out of your misery real quick.
Exactly.
Like, I tried to strike you down and I cut you in half and you're still kicking, and that's not.
And the worst thing is that a lot of you know this, the saber cauterizes the wound, so you don't actually bleed out. You just sit there and suffer.
It's a rough way to go. I have to imagine.
You just arms.
Especially
gone.
in modern canon, a stab to the stomach doesn't mean you're necessarily
does
gone.
not mean.
Just means you better hope someone comes and finds you quickly.
That's right.
So, Yeah, I know. I'm so excited for it.
I can't
think
wait.
that it looks really cool.
What's our release date? Was it June? June? Do you have it there?
I think August for
August.
this, maybe?
August 30.
August 30?
August 30.
That's going to be awesome.
Because that'd be like a late birthday for me.
Yeah. Yeah, June we've got June is Acolyte.
June is Acolyte.
We've
We
got
now have our May set.
Yeah.
That's going to go quick, though, because they're all released once.
Yep, that's
At
going
once,
right
so
away.
that's
May the 4th.
May the 4th, day one. I'll watch all of those. And then we've got June.
Yeah, June.
And now we've got August.
It's coming around.
Yep.
We've so I wanted to bring this up too as we're kind of getting closer to wrapping up the episode today, but a little bit of Star Wars news. We talked about Mangold a second ago and kind of future Star Wars movies. This was announced recently, which got a lot of people excited. That I hope I don't mispronounce his name, but Bo
Ziffer?
Willimon,
Williman.
who co-wrote the prison arc in Andor,
Oh.
has been officially announced that he will co-write James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi.
Wow.
And people are really excited, and then they
Okay.
dove into it and said his specific arc that he wrote were these 3 episodes that are like 3 of maybe the best episodes of Andor.
Fantastic.
And people are also sharing this and saying, by the way, he's the one who wrote this scene, like the classic. What have I sacrificed? Everything that that great Skarsgård moment there. There's just so many things that I'm excited for with Star Wars right now, and when you look,
Do they have it? We don't have a time for that though. It's just out there.
There's no time for Dawn of the Jedi yet. They did officially announce that The Mandalorian and Grogu will release on May 22nd, 2026.
Wow.
To officially slide the exact date.
Wow, they're going back to May.
Going back to May.
It's
Because
Memorial Day, probably
2026
Memorial Day weekend, like the old days.
Yeah, and I
Star
think that
Wars.
if they hold true to what they had said, 2026 is supposed to have. We'll see if they do it. May 2026 is Mandalorian and Grogu. December 2026 is Rey movie.
Oh.
Now, not trying to be
Iger's doing
cynical
it again.
Yeah,
Bobby's doing it again.
he's right. Not trying to be cynical. I am not necessarily. Fingers crossed they keep those dates. I would maybe be a little bit surprised if we go from no Star Wars movies to 2 within a 7 month span.
Yeah.
But that's the plan for right now. And again, I know a lot of the dates. Dates are always a thing that I know people are frustrated. As do I get sometimes when you're like, oh, the dates get. I'm less frustrated about when a date gets bumped because I understand the business of just getting it done. Listen, I understand the bit. I don't really understand the business.
I know the biz.
We call it the biz.
The biz.
It's
we know
more
things get
frustrating
moved.
When something just obviously when something gets it's more just when something gets scrapped or disappears because you get your hopes up for it. But the way that these things work sometimes, there's a reason why they're not like, oh, we bump it 4 weeks. That doesn't work because you have something else that Disney's promote. Like a lot of times something gets bumped like a year.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Or gets bumped 6 months. So hopefully it'll be really. I know that they're working around Avatar release schedules, which is their big
Isn't
money
that
maker
crazy?
right now, which is just crazy. But when when James Cameron said, "Yeah, no, this one will make over $2 billion again," they have now said, "Oh, maybe we don't necessarily work Avatar around Star Wars, but for right now the other way around because that is insane that you did that with the second one. It's just crazy.
Like a hedgehog pops his head out of the hole every 10 years and then blows the world up.
Just blows the world. Just literally lights dynamite.
I'll see you in
and then
2050.
Yeah, just I can still do it. Goes back.
Gee whiz.
It's that's pretty insane,
amazing.
The success there. The last couple things I had made little notes of.
I'm glad you prepared ahead.
Yeah, well, my prepare ahead is, that looks interesting. Screenshot. And I remember. Well, one little detail. So for any of you who didn't know who Barriss Offee was, I was trying to find out the exact last time we had seen it. And
by the way, not to be confused with Frank Sinatra.
Not Frank Sinatra.
It's not Barra.
Not Barris Offie. Barris Offie. Frank Sinatra is what my 2-year-old son, Isaiah, thinks Frank Sinatra.
His name is Franks.
Because he actually...
It's awesome.
We've gotten into this fun little game where we're playing music, and he's like, play Frank Sinatra. Like, it was every 2-year-old says. They don't say, play Bluey.
Play Fly Me to the Moon.
Do my way. Like that's not what my 2-year-old should be listening to as I'm trying to tell him to eat his vegetables.
Oh my God.
I did it my like go to bed. But yeah, he'll turn to me sometimes and want me to do a voice and do like an impression or something, and not that I have a good Frank Sinatra voice. It's basically just like, yeah, listen up there, kid. Like it's just whatever. It's typical like New Yorker casino guy, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Isaiah will turn and go, Franks, and I'm like, oh, buddy, he thinks his name is Frank Sinatra, which I get it when I say it as one, Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Sounds like
Franks,
but hilarious
Sinatra.
Hearing someone say Franks.
So great.
Franks.
Play some Franks.
So this is not Barry.
It's not Barry.
It's not Barry.
Right.
This is Barris.
Barris.
But yeah, she was last seen in the Clone Wars episode The Wrong Jedi, which aired March 2nd, 2013.
Man.
So 11 years. 11 years of waiting to get an answer there. And
It's almost like a Avatar sighting.
Yeah. Then the final thing, obviously, that I wanted to not obviously, because you don't know what I'm looking
obviously.
at. But obviously. There were some reviews. Some reviews about people reviewing some of the last episodes, not the finale, because I think it hadn't been released to even the people who got to preview Bad Batch. Some of the reviews of just like the tone and stuff.
Oh yeah.
These say
of what's coming.
Final episodes. The final episodes of what's coming. Final episodes are quote the darkest yet.
Whoa.
I've watched the second half of the final season of the Bad Batch, except for the final episode, and it is the darkest, most emotional, and strongest thing we've had in the animated field of Star Wars.
Oh my goodness.
I am sure the ending is going to break our souls in some way or another. Everything seems to be leading to it.
Wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of those.
I want my soul to be broken.
Break my soul.
Take my blood.
So
check my M count.
Do it.
Blood M count, right?
Which, when you look at it, I think I probably invented the M count. A lot of people say, we demand a recount. And I said,
that's what was in the vault the first time they flashed in their Trump, like, probably the best M count.
Probably the best M count.
Most M count
they
ever.
Said Anakin was off the charts. And I
was
said,
bigger.
It's better to be on the charts, I think, because if it's off the charts, it's just made up.
We don't like Jedis who are captured.
Jedis.
Only the Jedis who weren't captured.
Jedis who weren't captured.
They've been stabbed. I don't like those Jedi.
You know, I prefer little girl clones who aren't taken back to Tantus. So his thought is let her go.
And then Ham looks like,
let her go.
Please close the door. Never open that door again.
It's just immediate. It's immediate. You open the door and it's just immediate insult comic Trump. Look at this guy. What's with the hand is what I say. What's with the hand?
He's still talking as the door closes.
Probably the worst. Just shut. Never open that door again.
Why does it feel like a little bit like, lady? Okay. Look at her.
It was because there's a little bit funny. Of the. It's just gonna like there's something like coming out of the body gonna explode, and then a little bit of like. Which I think people watching give the face that maybe he is making too, of like you hear him say and you go,
I don't know.
Does he know what he said? And then Trump says it. He says something and then sort of breathes it in.
He's with you.
You're not sure if that's something he meant to say, but we will say afterwards that we meant to say it. And then afterwards we'll wonder. What did that actually mean?
What did that mean?
I'm not sure, but the M count.
Sure, but the M count.
You know, a lot of people are saying that I probably invented the M count when you look at it. And then people outside are like, no, don't you understand? There's a lot of people who don't like the M count. A lot of people said, George, don't go so scientific. I said, go all the way.
Go more.
Give us more. I told George, I said, let us know who invented C-3PO. People want to know, was it Anakin? I've always said, was it Anakin? Just repeating the same thing over and over.
A lot of controversy
I said,
I don't think so.
We need to build a force field wall for the Gungans against the battle droids.
I think that would be a great thing for you to do. A TikTok. We've got Trump making political statements in the Star Wars universe about choices made, the Death Star or whatever. Probably.
I prefer the Death Star who does not blow
Does
up.
not blow
You're
up.
like, wait, so you prefer a Death Star? that would be a classic way. Do you know what you're
And
saying?
you get the you get Joe
Do you know what
Biden with
you're
the
saying?
rebuttal. in
Folks,
there.
come on. This guy's talking about building another Death Star. We need to get boots on the ground. Boots on the ground. Like, what? What are we talking about here?
Oh,
We need to send more aid to Kashyyyk. it's just really.
that's the one he gets
That's it.
perfect. He nails Kashyyyk.
Kashyyyk.
Shiki,
He
Shika,
speaks She-Rook perfectly.
Gotta go Shikiki.
Shakiki kaka. Well, come on.
Kakaboo Didi.
Come on. This guy says Shakiki kaka.
Nicky Ticky Tavi.
That's what Queen Amidala is all about. Queen
Oh, Nate, where can they find us?
That's it.
Oh,
Nate?
crud, that's me.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Uncle.
we
Where can they
are.
find us?
I love this phrase. I love it. I love the phrase. We are everywhere you find your podcasts. It just sounds funny when you say that. Yeah. Thanks for watching. We're gonna keep going for another half an hour or so. After we turn off, I got a lot more Trump to hear.
We've got quite a lot.
Quite a lot. We appreciate you coming in. I'm sorry we were not as diligent with following the chat. We'll try to do better.
Need Nate back.
Nate is our tick.
He's our guy.
Can't do it without him.
He's got his finger on the pulse of the fans. He knows what's going
We were
on.
lucky that just the buttons. We think it worked.
We're the bits guys.
We don't know.
We're the bits. Nate's always reel us in. We're always going out there. Then Nate goes, All right,
okay, let's talk about what we're supposed to
wrap this up.
As we can see, we can end it.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised we even got a word in about our sponsors. That was a good. That was good that we.
That was good. That was good. Well, thanks for watching. We're glad you're here. Please smash the like button, hit the notification bell. You'll get updates on all of our videos as they come out. And as always, may the force be with you.
I want to just run a couple of tanks again. It's not even a quote. I just love I love that Wrecker starts getting so excited that he just starts like. Sounds like shoveling down food as he's eating. Like, give us a